Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nastapradeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nastapir. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Purnama Vanshkalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyasya Patitanam Pavani Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanto Swameti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Rachita Prabhupada ki jai Anant Koti Vaishnavin ki jai Shambhav Bhaktivinoda ki jai Jai Nandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So we have been studying second verse of first chapter, and I think we went almost all the aspects of this verse uh, that is mentioned here. But it's always nice to chant the verse before we talk about it. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastvam atra vastu Sivadam tapatrayo namulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parayra Ishwaraha Sadhya Hirdaya Vrudhyate Yat Kritivhi Susrusubhi Tat Chanat. So we talked about everything, but as you can see in this verse, that this word atra is being used three times. Atra, and then again is being used here. Atra. So dharma pojita kaitava atra parmo nirmatranam satam vedyam vastvam atra vastu siddham tapotraya nimulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parera Ishvara Sadhya Hirdei Aurudhyate Atra Kriti Vishusvitatchanat. So the summary of this verse is that we went through last class that it talks about Kritivhi, like for a complete devotee, it's very easily achievable the pure bhakti. But for Susrusubhi, it might be a little bit delayed. What it does, it rejects all other Kaito dharma and help devotees to fully establish in pure devotional service. At the same time, Nirmatsaranam, being non-envious, was the quality that we talked about, and it delivers the real object, the Veda. And we talked what are the real object? Pure devotee, pure devotion is the real object, and also those five meanings of first verse that we saw, that is also a real object. So Bhagavatam delivers those real object, and it's compiled by Lord Himself. Mahamuni here refers to Lord Himself, and we talked that Lord Narayan, in this case, spoke uh, Bhagavatam to Lord Brahma, and then it came down, and it uproots. It has capability to uproot the three folds of misery, and finally, it set up the devotee or the follower, or it formally fixed the devotee, I would say, in Pramadharma, Paramadharma, and the Paramadharma is Ahitukiya Pratihata Yayatma Supersiddhati, fully situated in a devotional service, which is free from all other ulterior desire. So we saw the meaning of ahituki and apartihata. So this is the last part that we didn't talk. And after going through this slide, we'll move to the next verse. So this verse has atra repeated multiple times. And this repetition of atra is putting emphasis. So atra, tatra. Atra means here, tatra means there. So here means in Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this scripture and not in any other work, the Lord becomes controlled by the devotee. Kritivihi, Susrusuvihi. In this scripture and not in any other work, the substantial object is presented. Vedyam, Vastvam, Vastu. So the substantial object is presented in this scripture and not in any other work. In this work and no other work, the highest dharma pravojita kaito, the highest dharma, which rejects all cheating, is presented. All other yogas are excluded in this work alone. And it should be understood that in describing what is presented only in the Bhagavatam, all things which are not yoga at all are also rejected. So, what that's saying is basically that this work present all other yogas which are necessary for one to develop pure devotion. But if there are other process mentioned somewhere else, and if that process does not guarantee, does not help the follower to be fully or formally situated in pure devotion, then Bhagavatam rejects that. So we talked through one slide that there is Guni Bhuta Bhakti, Pradhan Bhuta Bhakti, and Kevalya Bhakti. So there are other Shastra which will talk about Guni Bhuta Bhakti, or maybe even lower than that, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Forget about Bhakti. It will talk other subject. But Bhagavatam does not talk that. Bhagavatam talks Pradhan Bhuta Bhakti and Kevalya Bhakti. And Pradhan Bhuta Bhakti talks because from Pradhan Bhuta Bhakti, it helps understand Kevalya Bhakti in a very substantial way. But it doesn't talk about Dharma, Artha, Kam, and Moksha. So that's why this verse has so many important points that I think we need to understand. So this verse basically in nutshell present, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, this verse help us understand how great is Bhagavatam. And with that background, we'll move to next verse, which is third verse. And that verse, or this verse now, since I'm at this screen, talks about sweetness. How sweet is Bhagavatam. And we should try to understand this verse very carefully, all these three verses. That's why I think I'm sure you would have broadened your understanding that these words have multiple meaning. And these are prelude verses. So it really set up and give us the foundation to prepare ourselves what we are going to receive while we are going through the chapter wise of the Bhagavatam. It's very important to keep these things in mind as we go through go through multiple chapters. So let's recite this verse. Nigamakalpataroragalitam phalam sukha mukhad amrit dravasmayutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam raho rasik bhuvi bhavukaha. So aho rasik bhuvi bhavukaha. Oh, knowers of rasa. Oh, fortunate soul. Aho rasik. Aho. Aho is here. Vishmaya. Surprising. Oh, aho. Oh, rasik bhui bhavukaha. Oh, knowers of rasa. Rasika. Oh, fortunate soul. Bhuvi. Constantly drink from the mouth of Sukdev, the Bhagavatam. So, Sukha Mukhad. And it's Dravya. We'll see a little bit later. So drink is it doesn't say that eat, it says that drink. From whom? From the mouth of Sukdev, who is the Bhagavatam. Nigama Kalpatarur, the fruit of the tree of the Veda. So Nigam Kalpatarur, Nigam refers to Veda, Kalpatarur, desired tree. So this is a, so Veda is, first let's understand that part. Veda is called Kalpatarur. And this Kalpatarur has a fruit, right? So is that fruit is Bhagavatam. But what is that fruit? Galitam, fully ripened, fully ripened. So the fruit of the tree of the Veda, which has dropped from the tree to this earth. So the ripened fruit has dropped after fully ripening. And it has not dropped far. It has dropped very close to that tree. And this fruit has a quality. What is the quality? It is Amrit Dravya. It's liquid, which is immortal. And this is essence, which includes all types of liberation. So this Bhagavatam is the essence. And Rasam Alayam, it's a liquid which can be just drunk. And it's essence of Vedic teaching, which includes all types of liberation. So Layam, Alayam, we'll talk a little bit more. We'll understand each and every word in a detailed way. So Layam refers to liberation, but Alayam, it goes beyond the liberation. So it includes everything that can be obtained somewhere else, but Alayam, but it goes beyond that. So that is a very technical meaning of this verse. O knower of rasa, O fortunate soul, muhur, constantly drink from the mouth of Sukdev, the Bhagavatam, which is the fruit of the tree of the Veda, which has dropped, it is fully ripened, Galitam phalam, which is dropped from the tree to this earth. So how it has dropped, we'll also talk about that. This fruit, the nectar of this fruit, the liquid of this fruit is immortal, which is essence of all the sweetness. And it includes all types of liberation, everything that a conditioned soul desire can be delivered through this Bhagavatam. So this is very powerful, although it appears very simple verse, but this verse carries a lot of deep meaning, and we will try to unfold them one by one. So this verse presents sweetness. So let's see what are the terms we are going to understand. First, 1.1.2 talks about the powers of Bhagavatam. So Susubhi Kritibhi, in the heart of accomplished devotee, or Susubhi, the devotee who are aspiring, Bhagavatam promise to formally situate the bhakti. And then this 113 talks about sweetness of Bhagavatam. So we'll study Nigam Kalpataror. What is the meaning of this word? Nigam Kalpataror. Galitam Phalam. What is the meaning of that? Shuka Mukhad. We'll understand what is the explanation of that term. Rasham, Alayam, Muhur, Rasika, Bhuvi, Bhavukaha. So we'll one by one try to understand the meaning, and then that will give us the deeper understanding of this verse. Is it okay? Are we good so far?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, Nigam Kalpataro. Nigam refers to the Veda, and the Veda is a desired tree. Since it's tree, because it's tree, it gives a fruit in the form of various purusartha. So Veda is a tree, and this tree has a fruit. Since it's tree, it has a fruit, and this fruit gives various purusarthas, such as dharma, artha, kam, and moksha, which are the goal of the human being. However, because of its nature as a tree, it also gives the fruit known as the Bhagavatam. So Veda gives this another fruit, which is known as Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is not separate from the Vedic knowledge. We should not think that Bhagavatam is not the Vedic knowledge. But what is the quality of this fruit? It's Galitam Phalam. Galitam means it's fall down of its own accord when ripened on the tree and not by force. Thus, it is completely full of sweetness. So we take the fruit and we pluck it while it's not ripened, and then you give the time for that fruit to ripen. Versus a fruit that is fully ripened and falling from the tree. The sweetness of both of those fruits will be very different. So that's the point being mentioned here. Bhagavatam is a fully matured, ripened fruit that has fallen its own accord. It has not been plucked and ripened and then given the time to ripe. So that tells that it's very sweet. It's very sweet. And even after falling from a high position in the tree, it does not break, nor does it lose its sweetness. Why? Because it comes from highest position to ground in a successive order, such as Narayan, Lord Narayan gave it to Brahma. Brahma gave it to Narad. Narad gave it to Vyasdev. Vyasdev gave it to Sukdev Goswami. Sukdev Goswami is giving to Parikshit Maharaj. So this ripened fruit, although has fallen on the, a very important concept, has fallen on the earth, it has not dropped by itself, but it has been handed over. So if the ripened fruit will fall from the top of the tree, fall on the ground, it will break. And the juice is rasam. It's not rasmayam. And we'll talk about that. It's not rasmay. It's rasam. So that juice, when it will break on the earth, the juice will spread. The sweetness is gone. But Bhagavatam retains its sweetness, although it's ripened fruit, because it's coming from disciplic succession. So it's very important. Bhagavatam does support disciplic succession also, right? So it's coming through disciplic succession. That's why the sweetness is maintained, the nectar is maintained. And this Galitam Phalam, the sweetest fruit, is also compared as Raganuga Bhakti. Ragatmika, from Ragatmika, Raganuga Bhakti comes. Who are Ragatmika? Rashika, Brajvasis, Gopis are called Ragatmika Bhakta. They have a spontaneous love for, for Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they follow Raganuga Bhakti. So Raganuga Bhakti is that sweetest nectar. So that's what also Galitam Phalam refers to. It refers to Raganuga Bhakti, which is fully ripened fruit on the trees of the Veda. And this fully ripened fruit is Raganuga Bhakti, following after the sentiment of gopis. So gopis are Ragatmika Bhakti, Ragatmika Bhakta. So following their sentiment, we or devotees will receive Raganuga Bhakti. And this Raganuga Bhakti is compared that sweet fruit. So Galitam Phalam refers to that ripened fruit. And why ripened fruit need to be emphasized? Because it's very sweet. It's very sweet. It has ripened by its own accord. And it has fallen on the earth, but it has not just fallen by itself and then completely destructed and the juice has spread out. No, that sweetness has been retained because it is coming through disciplic succession. And it's it's presented, or it's also form. This fruit is form of a Raganuga Bhakti, type of bhakti which is followed by gopis, Rashika. So we'll little bit, as we try to understand the meaning of each and every word, some of these things will become more clear as we go along. But I'm hoping that it making sense as we are going along. So Galitam Phalam is very important word here also. Very, very important word. Then Shuka Mukhad. So Suka normally refers to parrot, right? So the parrot Suka has even made an opening in the fruit with his beak for bringing out the sweetness. Moreover, having been tested by Shuka, this fruit has become even more sweeter. Here is an acid now. It's building up. So not only this fruit is sweet by its own accord, but it has been tested by that Shuka. And by testing Shuka, this has become even more sweeter. Wow. So something that we need to discuss here. So there are multiple way we can see uh, the biting of Shuka. One understanding is that on a tree there are multiple fruits, and parrots have this capability to find out which tree is going to be sweetest, which fruit is going to be sweetest on that tree. So, so Suka bite on that particular fruit which is sweetest among the fruits. So that's uh, one meaning. The second meaning is that when parrot bites a fruit, it becomes even sweeter than that, sweeter than the fruit it is. And one of the example I can tell you, I mean, I have personally seen in my childhood, we had mango trees and we had guava trees. So on the guava trees, when the guavas are ripened, you will see some of the guavas will be beaten up by shuka. And really, if you eat those those fully ripened guava, it tastes awesome. So suka biting has the two level of understanding. First, it picks up the fruit which is sweetest, and then by biting it, it makes it even more sweeter. So ripened fruit, which is already sweet, chosen by this parrot, suka, and beaten by this parrot, keep on making sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. So this is the meaning of suka mukhad. It makes even that sweeter flower sweeter. And another meaning is that all of our acharyas are compared as suka. So moreover, it remains unbroken, coming down step by step from the branch of Sutta and others. What is implied here is that without the Guru Parampara, one cannot drink Bhagavatam in its unbroken form just by trying to taste it through the use of one's limited intelligence. So this Bhagavatam is becoming sweeter and sweeter and sweeter as it coming through the disciplic succession, and as it's coming down, it's not breaking, it's unbroken because it's very nicely handed over. Okay, here you go. Okay, here you go. So this food has been maintained. So that sweetness, now you are seeing how the sweetness is building up. That sweetness can be received only when we are receiving this mercy through disciplic succession. So that's why Bhagavatam, when we study in association of a devotee and hear from a devotee who are associated to disciplic succession, they transfer that sweetness which has been coming through the parampara. So very important, Sukha Mukhad. I hope that you understood the some deeper meaning of Sukha Mukhad. So Bhagavatam also means which belongs to Bhagwan as a proprietor. This implies that he alone gives the scripture to his devotee, and thus person other than them do not have right to it. I'm not saying this thing. This is coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Nothing is mine. Nothing is concocted. Everything has reference. So that's what it says here. Bhagavatam is Bhagwan's property, and nobody else can steal it. It's Lord desire. Lord's gave it to his devotee, and then his devotee carries on. So far we saw how sweet this fruit is and how this fruit has come down without broken. But what is inside that fruit now, and how this fruit should be consumed? He says, he says, this fruit should be drunk, we are drinking, we are not eating. Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavat Prasadam. There are four types of prasadam, right? Chewing, licking, drinking. So this fruit we are drinking. So rasam and rasmaya. Gulab jamun is rasmaya. So when we say rasmaya, means it has some part that is not rasa, right? Like take the gulab jamun. Oh, it's very juicy. We say it's very juicy. But Bhagavatam is not juicy. Bhagavatam is juice itself. It does not have skin, it does not have seed, and it does not have any other objectionable part. So take the mango. Mango has juice, it has pulp, it has a skin and all of that. It has some unwanted object too. But this Bhagavatam that we are talking about, it's just the rasam, it's just the pure nectar. And how you eat it, you just drink it. So this what this rasam stand here. And Krishna is rasa, the fruit. But this fruit is not directly situated on the tree of the Veda. Again, it has fallen down. It is Galitam nearby. This object, rasa, is not on the tree itself. It is not to be searched out in the Veda, but rather it is found in the mouth of Shukdev Goswami. And again, Shukdev Goswami, when we say, we are talking about Shukdev Goswami and his succession. So this rasa now, and we'll see what is the meaning of this rasa a little bit more. This rasa is Krishna himself. And this cannot be found on the trees of Vedas. By by whom? By the one who is not connected, who is not in the disciplic succession of Sukdev Goswami. That's what this this is the meaning of this rasa. So we saw that in previous class we saw that Lord Krishna is Akhil Rasamrita Murti. Krishna is the form of all rasa. Raso Vaisa Rasamhi Yavayam Lavda Anandi Bhavati. The Lord is rasa. And realizing the Lord, one attains bliss. This is coming from Taittiriya Upanishad. So, Akhil Rasamrita Murti, we have seen this verse that we talked last time. Malanam Asanar Narnam Narvara Histrim Asmarva Murtiman. We have seen this verse. And this verse says that Lord at same time can be perceived in different rasa to different person. This verse also tells why we have to study uh, Bhagavatam in the association of a devotee. He can be perceived differently depending on how one has relationship with him. And there are 12 rasas, five principal rasas, such as Santaras, Dasaras, and then Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. Five principal rasa, and then seven secondary rasa, Birya rasa, Vismaya rasa, Hasya rasa, Rudra rasa, Karuna rasa, Bhankar rasa. So Krishna is a personification of these rasas. And when Krishna, only Krishna, and this is something very strong statement, it will take time if you have objection to it, but only Krishna can exhibit all of these rasas full extent, to full extent. And when we study the 10th canto, we see that Lord, how he had reciprocation of Vatsalya Rasa with Mother Yashoda, the Damodara that we sing, or how he had, you know, Dasya relationship, how he had Sakya relationship with his friends. So some of these rasa are manifested in full extent by Lord Krishna or by Lord Krishna's pastime. But these rasas are not manifested in full extent by other incarnations of the Lord. Even Lord Ramchandra had some of that, but in Lord Ramchandra's pastime, Vatsala Rasa is not very prominent. His love for Kausalya or Mother Kekai were not emphasized much. Rather, Dasiras, Hanumanji, Sakhiras, these two rasas you will see. But in pastime of Lord Sri Krishna, you will see these rasas very much emphasized and presented up to their full extent. His relationship with the friends, Madhumangala and Sudamas, and all that relationship. So this Bhagwan has multiple layers of understanding. Now, another important point to be noted: Bhagwan has multiple layers of understanding. Brahmameti, Brahmatmeti, Bhagwan iti sabdate. Brahman understanding, Paramatma understanding, Bhagwan understanding. In Bhagwan also, Sarvakaran Karnam, cause of all causes. In Bhagwan understanding, six opulences, right? He's the person who has all the strength, all the beauty, all the knowledge, and at the same time, he's all renounced. All of these are different degree of understanding of Bhagwan, but Acharya says the highest most understanding of Bhagwan is understanding of his Akhil Rasamrita Murti form. Understanding Lord as Akhil Rasamrita Murti. He is the reservoir of all rasa, and through him other rasas are coming. So Bhagavatam help one understand that form, the Bhagwan, which is Akhil Rasamrita. Is it okay so far or too much? Should we? Is it okay so far? Devotees, can somebody confirm?
Yeah. Yes. So, but yes,
So this,
understand.
Akhil Rasamrita Murti form, understanding Krishna in that form is the highest, most understanding of the Lord, and that understanding is presented in Bhagavatam. So these, let's understand. So what exactly the rasam reflects? Understanding Lord as a reservoir of all the rasa. Krishna, Akhil Rasamrita Murti. Krishna is the form of all rasa. So that's what Bhagavatam promises. And then it also help us understand the Bhagwan feature. We say that alayam, alayam, right? So it promises, it gives everything that is presented somewhere else, but it goes beyond that. So here, Bhuvi indicates Braj Bhumi, and Bhauka and Rasika indicates the gopis. So, oh dear, the reservoir of relicers of Krishna's rasa drink the sweetness of the rasa arising from this form of Lord in Bhagavatam. Pibita Bhagavatam rasam alayam. Release rasa up to the point of embracing Krishna. So this one is a little bit confidential, but it says that keep on drinking this rasa, keep on drinking this rasa up to you come to the stage of that highest, most form of realizing Krishna, which is by gopis. So keep on drinking this nectar. Muhur, rasik, bhui, bhavika, constantly keep on drinking, keep on drinking. So this fruit has to be drunk, and this fruit represents Bhagwan himself, Bhagwan's Akhil Rasamrita Murti form, and then this fruit also represents Raganuga Bhakti. So Sadhaka, either Kritivi or Susrusivi, should keep on drinking this nectar, this rasam, until one come to the stage of fainting, alayam. We'll talk about that. Uh, so this is what we understand from this verse, that how sweet Srimad Bhagavatam is, and how how much it can do to the conditioned soul. It will help us understand this highest, most understanding of the Lord, which is his Akhil Rasamrita Murti form. Layam, let's understand this layam part, very important. And we might like stopping here because too much going through all of this might be too much of the information, but I'm hope we are staying together. So laya means liberation. Layam, laya means liberation, which is we know that Salokya, Sarsasti, Samipya, Sarupya, and Sayuja Mukti is not here. So yeah, Sayuja is here. So there's 5 types of mukti, laya. But the word alaya means that this fruit extends beyond these types of liberation, because Bhagavatam is famous for glorifying the Lord's pastime. So alayam, laya means these other types of liberation, and alayam takes even higher than that. So if somebody is trying to uh, reach Bhagavatam for one of these mukti, Bhagavatam can do that. But Bhagavatam can extend beyond and help one understand that Akhila Samrita Murti form. Help one formally situated in Raganuga Bhakti, and help one formally release this nectar. This is beautiful, very beautiful. As I'm reading it, it's just the word coming out of my mouth, but one side of my brain is thinking, Kabe hobe bola wo din amar. Vinod Thakur sang a very nice song. He says, Kabe hobe bola wo din amar. Sudha name ruchi, aparadhe guchi. Kripa bali chahe. So when that day will come, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is saying, when that day will come, when Sudha name ruchi, I will have taste for pure holy name. I would chant the pure holy name and aparadhe guchi, and my life will be free from all the offenses. That's what the aspiration of a devotee. When that day will come, my dear Lord, kabe hobe bola odina amar, shuddha name ruchi, aparadhe guchi. I should have the taste for pure holy name, and my life should be free from all offenses. And I should be carrier of the compassion for all living being. So with that background, alay also refers, or laya also refers to 8 sattvic bhava called parlaya. Parlaya here refers to fainting. So there are 8 sattvic bhav. Sometimes devotee will ask that how I would know that I have advanced, right? And depending on their adhikar, where they are, if somebody has just started Krishna consciousness, you would say that please chant the name of Krishna, do some devotional service, serve devotee, take Vaishnava association, read Bhagavatam. So depending on the adhikar, you give them the instruction that would take them to the immediate next step. But here are the Sattvic Bhav, the highest, most manifestation of devotional service that one can exhibit. Mahaprabhu did it. Mahaprabhu manifested, these 8 Sattvic Bhav. So we have to talk this to understand this word, another meaning of this word, Laya and Pralaya. So Laya refers to this 8 Sattvic Bhav. And out of those 8 Sattvic Bhav, Pralaya is one. And that is fainting. So one should drink it until one develops the 8 symptoms of Sattvic Bhaya or Sattvic Bhava up to the final one that's called fainting. So there are 8 ecstatic transformations presented in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. That says, Astambha Sveda Romancha Ukampa Swaraveda Vaivarnaya Parlaya Ashru Vikara Pravedaha. So you can see the word Parlaya here, right? So Laya Parlaya, fainting. So these are the 8 Vikara. I'll just read. Astambha, becoming stunned. Sweda, perspiration. Romancha, horripilation. Romancham. And Swaraveda, faltering of the voice, choking of the voice. And then trembling. And Vaivarnaya, loss of color, paling. Ashru, tears coming from the eyes. And Parlaya, fainting. Uh, these are the goal. When we chant the name of Krishna, tears should come from our eyes. Bhagavatam says, we'll study that if that's not happening, then the heart is hard. And when heart is hard, tear cannot come. And heart is hard because of aparadha, offense that we do. So if you are asking someone, what is the highest extent of expression of devotion? How I should know that I have come to advanced stages of Krishna consciousness? These symptoms manifest. Tears should come. So these are the goal, by the way. In our spiritual life, there are so many other goals that comes. And Maya will try to trick, because that's her duty. That's her role. She is empowered to filter out who are serious soul, who are really aspiring to serve me in right consciousness, not in a negative connotation. Find out those soul. So Maya presents multiple challenges. But one goal should be to come to this stage where one will start fainting. So in this particular context, the pralaya has been emphasized. Come to this highest stage where you will start fainting. And the word says, Pibat Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam Muhuraho Rasik Bhuvi Bhavuka. So, O Rasika, O Bhuvi Bhavika, Muhur, constantly drink this nectar. And what would happen when you drink this rasam? It will make you faint. And when you faint, you again get up and muhur, drink it, and you go to faint. Again you get up, muhur, constantly drinking. Keep on fainting, keep on drinking, keep on fainting, keep on drinking. So that's what this layam and alayam is telling us. That Bhagavatam should be constantly drunk. Keep on drinking, keep on drinking, keep on drinking until you become faint, which is one of the symptom of ast sattvic bhava. So I'm not here to talk about asattvic bhava. This is highest topic. In fact, this doesn't come into the first section of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We only study one. We don't study two. We do not study two, but it's mentioned in second wave. And these is sattvic bhav. Chaitanya Charitamrita also said 9 symptoms of advancement in the bhakti. But this even goes higher than that. So that's why I'm saying that depending on what is our adhikar and where we are, keeps on building and going up and up and up. So these should be our goal. And Bhagavatam help us come to that goal. If we constantly drink, then we are drinking what we are drinking. We are drinking the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, this rasa. We are drinking Bhagavatam, Bhagwan himself, and we are drinking this Raganuga Bhakti. So if we constantly drink, then this drinking will make us faint. And if you faint, get up and drink again and go faint down. This is the goal. And this is Bhagavatam promises. So Muhur, though one will not be able to drink the nectar when one has fainted. When the fainting wears off, once again awakens to consciousness and begin drinking until one faints again. One cannot give up drinking. Thus the word muhu is used. So we cannot stop drinking Bhagavatam. I have studied Bhagavatam once, I know what it does. I have studied Gita once, I know what it does. Constantly, every time, as a student or as a teacher, I mean, I do not have a problem hearing from anybody who is part of this epic succession. Every time I hear, I find something that person is saying that awakens my consciousness. So find a means and constantly keep on drinking and keep on, elevating in our consciousness. Oh, aho rasik, vibhavuka. So muhur have another meaning. Though one has drunk it, by again drinking it, one develops more taste for it. And this is surprising. So in the material world, there is law of diminishing margin. So when we have studied in the economics, when you are very hungry, start eating the first few times, it will appear that it's really releasing. But as you keep on eating and your belly starts filling up, the taste starts diminishing, right? So law of marginal return, right? That's how the material worlds are. The things of the material worlds are founded on the basis of law of marginal diminishing return. The return, the thrust, first quench of water, so good. Second, very nice. Third, it's nice. Fourth, yeah, it's okay. Keep on decreasing. But Bhagavatam, Muhur, Aho, Rasik, Bhui Bhavuka, Oh, Rasika, Oh, Bhui Bhavuka, keep on drinking again and again. What would happen? This drink will release and keep on becoming more and more releasing for you. So first time you taste, second time it's going to be tastier than the first time. Third time, even it's going to be more tastier than the first and second time. So, this is so surprising. Why? Because how the taste keep on increasing. Because it's talk about Akhilas Amrita Murti, it talks about Bhagwan, and it talks about Rasa Raganuga Bhakti. So the taste keep on increasing more and more, and that's surprising. Rasik, but keep on drinking. That's what Muhur says. Muhur means constantly keep on drinking. So should I stop here or should I continue more? I think, yeah, this is a
Stop,
slide, so
Prabhuji.
I'll
It's
finish
too
here.
much.
Huh?
It's too much to get.
Yes. So please listen. That's why we record. Listen the recording. And yeah, I will stop here. Uh, let's have some discussion. I know. Let's have some discussion, some understanding of the subject that we have talked about. So can I just give a summary again to summarize what we have talked? Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
And let me summarize it. So Nigam Kalpataror, just to remember, Nigam is Veda, Kalp is desire, Taror is tree. So Veda is considered desired tree because it fulfills the dharma, arth, kama, and moksha. But this tree has a fruit, and that fruit, which is sweetest out of all the fruit, is Bhagavatam, and this fruit has fallen down on the earth after being fully ripened. So fully ripening here says it has become even more tastier. But this fruit has also been tasted by Shuka. So the beak of Shuka makes it even more tastier. So Bhagavatam is the fruit of Veda, or sweetest fruit of the Veda, which has been picked by Shuka to make it even more tastier. And this fruit has come through disciplic succession. Narayan gave it to Lord Brahma, Brahma gave it to uh, Narayan, and then not Narayan, Narad Muni,
Narada.
and Narad Muni gave it to, Vyasdev, Vyasdev gave it to Sukdev Goswami. Like that, it has been coming. So this Shuka also refers to disciplic succession. So this sweetest fruit, which is coming from top, from the tree of the Veda to earth, is handed over very nicely, very carefully from one acharya to another acharya. And the sweetness is retained. And this fruit is rasam only, it's not rasmay. It does not have a skin or seed or other objectionable part. It's just the rasa. This fruit is the rasa only. And what is this rasa? This rasa is Akhila Samrita Sindhu. This rasa is the highest most form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this rasa is also bhakti. We saw that, Vedam Vastamastu. So we are not going away from those five elements. So this rasa is Bhagwan in his highest form, Akhila Samrita Murti form. and this rasa is uh, Bhagavatam. And we have to drink that. By constantly drinking, this fruit will take us beyond all types of liberation. And Kritivihi Susrusuvi, for both of them formally deliver or firmly situate the devotion in them, right? That's the promise of this Bhagavatam. So Laya here refers to two things: types of liberation, and also it refers to sattvic bhava, sattvic bhava. So it will take us beyond all of these types of liberation to the extent when one will start fainting in, and fainting should not be taken in the wrong connotation. That's why this verse is being cited here. That fainting is one of the stage of highest, most exhibition of the bhakti. So one come to that stage of fainting, but they should not stop drinking. They should keep on drinking. Why? Because as you keep on drinking, it becomes tastier and tastier and tastier and tastier. But that's surprising. How come it keep on becoming tasting, keep on becoming more and more tastier? Because it's rasa. It's rasa in the form of supreme personality of Godhead. So, oh, rasika, vaibhavika, muhur, keep on drinking. So that's in very concise way we talked so far. Is it okay? Then we can a little bit have some discussion, 5 6 minutes. We'll just do a recap in next class and then complete these two Rasik and Bhavukaha, and then we'll get into the next section of our discussion. So anybody would like to share anything? I'll come back to the words itself here. Is it confusing or is it like okay?
Prabhu, I have one thing.
Yes,
Layam,
Prabhuji.
layam itself is liberation. What is beyond liberation? What do we have?
So normally there are 5 types of liberation. Let me go to that verse, that slide, so that you can see it on the screen. So there are 5 types of uh, liberation: Sayujya, Salokya, Sarsishti, Samipya, and Sarupya. Right? Mukti hitva sararupena swarupena vyavastitaha. So these are liberation. And liberation, I'm sure Lal Prabhu can add a little bit more. I'm sure you have heard it, so I don't want to get into the details of that. But Sayujya means merging, like the Brahman, realization is merging into the uh, Brahman, right? Shalokya means having a form and getting on the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Samipya means being very close, like Arjun was. So these are all types of liberation, but all of these liberations have a tinge of selfness, self-desire. I want to be liberated. Although liberation is not something that we can underestimate. Definitely, it's highest stage. It's much higher. But these are not the goal of a pure devotee. The pure goal for a sadhaka is anyavilasita sunyam, gyan karmadhyana. Sounds very easy, but it tells that there's no desire than just being Gopi Bhartau Padkam Layur Das Das Anudas. Just being the servants of the servants of the servants of the servants who are serving Srimati Radharani's and through Radharani serving Lord. So being free from all types of desire for self benefit. And that bhakti has. Ahituki apratihata means no other ulterior motivation and no other desire. Gyan karma anavritam. So Bhagavatam help devotee or practitioner to target for that goal, which does not have any tinge, does not have any touch of self benefit, fully serving for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is going back to home, back to Krishna, Goluk, Vrindavan. That's, the point we are trying to drive here.
Okay, Prabhu, got it. Thank you.
But one thing also to be noted that none of these Shayuja, Salokya, Sarsisti, Samipya, or Sarupya stage can be achieved without bhakti. There is bhakti. Only bhakti can help one go beyond guna. Nothing. So, karma kanda is in the mode of ignorance. Shakam karma is in the mode of passion. Gyan yoga and Ashtanga yoga is in the mode of goodness. So one cannot go to Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagwan by following the practices which are in the guna. But if you remember Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, chapter 6, when they advance, when Gyan Yogi is advanced, Krishna says, Machitaha. Now you have get sufficient purification, so meditate on me. But what they are meditating? On the Brahman form. In chapter 6, Krishna says, meditate upon me. Yoga Ruksha, Yoga Arudha. In Ashtanga Yoga, there are two stages. Yoga Aruksha, Yoga Rudha. Yoga Rudha is Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. So at that stage, now you Dhyan. Dharana means meditating on the form of the Lord with full attention, right? It's all bhakti. But those are bhakti through the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So that bhakti part help one get Paramatma or Bhagwan. But those bhaktis are not Gyan Karmanavritam. What we are talking about here is pure bhakti. Taregunna Visaya Veda. Nistaregunna Bhava Arjuna. O Arjun, these Vedas are going to deal with the Trigunas. But Nastaregunna Bhava, come out. So the Sattva. That's bhakti. So bhakti is always pure and remains pure and is always transcendental. But sometimes it will exist in the weak form and sometimes it will exist in the prominent form. I'm hearing some, I don't know, is it Karunani there? So when it exists in the weak form, Sayujya, Salukya, Sarsisti, Samipya, and Sarupyas are the goal. But when it's in the purest form, Kevalya Bhakti, then the goal is back to home, back to Krishna. Okay, that's what my understanding is. If you want, I can show you one slide. Can I show you one slide 1 minute?
Okay, Prabhu.
Prabhu? Okay, let me show you. Thank you for giving me opportunity to talk Bhagavatam. Where I can find that? Yeah, here. Let me help you understand a little bit whatever I have understood by studying. Are you seeing this screen here?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So Karma Kanda is in the mode of ignorance. Sakam Karma Yoga is in the mode of passion. And Niskam Karma Yoga, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that, oh Arjun, come to this Karm Phalam Tyagam, Niskam Karma Yoga. Means act for pleasure of Krishna. That's what is the subject of fourth chapter. He's saying that act knowing that I am the goal. What is the Gyan? The Gyan is basically who you are, soul, and who the Bhagwan is, and then the Prakriti, right? So Atma, Prakriti, and Paramatma. Knowing these three things, these are the three subjects of fourth chapter. So act for my pleasure. Karmanyavadhikaresu ma phalesu kadachana. Have you heard this verse multiple times? Don't meditate on the fruits of the action. In bhakti, we practice this Kam Karma Yoga. You do a lot of cooking. When you are cooking, always think that I'm doing it for Krishna. Not doing for somebody should glorify me or somebody should say that I am very good servant. Ahitukiya pratihata, that the mood, nice bhoga, Krishna Balaram will honor it, and then remnants other will. So meditating that Lord is going to be enjoying this nice prasadam, done in a very devotional mood, with your love and devotion while you are cooking. People who are around there, teach them to have that love and devotion towards Lord, and they will help. They will go towards Krishna. So Niskam Karma Yoga, act thinking of me, not yours. And then when you have sufficient purification, then you are qualified to be Gyan Yogi. So there are three, once you have made sufficient purification, then there are three paths you can follow. The first one is performing the Niskam Karma Yoga on the purified stage and taking the Anga limb of Gyan Yoga. So here in first option, you still act, you still have the duties. You don't renounce the duty artificially. Krishna says mithyachari. No, the one who has renounced the activity and still his mind dwells on the object of senses, his mithyachari. So continue acting, and that further you can understand in terms of devotional service. We don't leave service because service is the support. We have purification, we get purification through services. But serving for whom? Krishna. But that can happen only when you have made sufficient purification. When you have made sufficient purification, then you will act, and you will act for the pleasure of Krishna. So Krishna is asking Arjun to be a Niskam Karma Yogi, and if your goal is Brahman, then you take the limb of Jnana Yoga. The second option is Jnana Yoga, which is you completely reject, you don't work. You leave your home, go to the secluded places, and then you just meditate on the Anga of Gyan. So that's also called sannyasa, karma sannyasa. You have renounced the work. And then the third part, which is the subject of sixth chapter, is Ashtanga Yoga, where Krishna says in the beginning, when you are in the Yoga Haruksha stage, you have to perform this Kam Karma Yoga. And then once you advance, then you have to get into the Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi, where you meditate on me. So in all of these three stages, when one make sufficient purification, then Krishna is saying that mat praha, mat chitaha, mat atmanaha, Brahman. Uh, so for a Brahmanwadi, he will say that Brahman ahuti, you do everything thinking that it's done for the pleasure of Brahman. So that definition will change. But in all of these three paths, one has to do some bhakti. And then once one has sufficiently advanced, then Krishna tells that Gyan Sannyas now, leave it completely. Ahituki apatihata, anyavilasita sunyam, Gyan karmadyan avritam. So this Gyan karma, you can see, is still up to this stage, if you are following me, right? So now he will say that you have to do pure bhakti. So Gyan karma navritam, leave this Gyan and karma, come to the stage of anyavilasita. So at some point, all of this personality has to leave Gyan Sannyas, and then they have to just do the bhakti, and bhakti is in Suddha Sattva. Okay, so what happens? This chart is showing here. Liberation is achieved by whatever bhakti that they have done. This is not the slide made for going back to home, back to Krishna. Just to answer your question, this says that anybody who has achieved liberation, they have come through one of this process, and this process has some bhakti. And whatever they achieve on the strength of bhakti, not because of the Niskam Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, or not because of the Jnana Yoga that they have done, or not because of the Astanga Yoga they have performed. No, one cannot achieve any form of the Lord without having bhakti. But this bhakti, which is supported by Jnana and Astanga Yoga, is not pure bhakti. But the goal that they get is coming out of bhakti. But this bhakti is not pure. So that's why I was trying to answer. So liberation that we are talking about, Sayujya, Salokya, Sarsisti, Samipya, those are coming out of this bhakti, which has been through one of this process. But when we are saying alaya, pralaya, we are talking about this bhakti making 100% pure. Kevalya bhakti. Okay, Prabhu? Kevalya bhakti can take one to back to home, back to Krishna. So that is why even we are performing bhakti, and if our bhakti is not shuddh, then we might not go back to home, back to Krishna. We might make some sufficient purification. So Niskam Karma Yoga is for purification of the heart. And Niskam Karma Yoga too is when your heart is purified, then you take the process. And then from there you go up. So it's very important to understand some of this concept. Goal should be very clear. Even in bhakti also, Krishna will help for sure, but goals should be very clear. And whatever we achieve in the form of liberation, that's coming only out of bhakti. But this
Yes, Prabhu.
bhakti is supported by, are you clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
So
Very
our
much.
so
Thank you.
our goal is that we should always do Shuddha Sattva, pure bhakti. Try. You should try, my dear Lord. I'm so weak. I don't know how to do your bhakti. So many disturbances around. But fall down at the feet of the Lord, meditate, and just beg. That's what we saw, those 8 sattvic vikar, you know, us tears coming, that type of, and those should be our goal. Everything else is coming, going, coming, going. That's fine. But how we can formally come to the pure devotion. That's what ultimately will matter, right? So hope that answer your questions, Prabhu. Okay.
Prabhu, thank you so much.
Then thank you, Prabhu. So we'll try to stop here and we'll resume from next session. Vanchkalpatarubhesha kripa sindhu vyayavasha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Shimmal Bhakti Vrind ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu, for giving opportunity to